There are any number of possible futures. What you dreamed was a highly probable future, the one you were heading for had you not met me. You mean that, if I had decided to pass by the gas station that night, that dream would have been my future? Very possibly. And it still may be. But you can make choices and change your present circumstances. You can alter your future. Socrates made us some tea, and set my mug down softly next to me. His movements were graceful, deliberate. "Soc," I said, "I don't know what to make of it. My life these past months has been like an improbable novel, you know what I mean. Sometimes I wish I could go back to a normal life. This secret life here with you, these dreams and journeys, it's been hard on me." Socrates took a deep breath. Something of great import was coming. "Dan, I am going to increase my demands on you as you become ready. I guarantee that you'll want to leave the life you know and choose alternatives that seem more attractive, more pleasant, more normal. Right now, however, that would be a greater mistake than you can imagine. But I do see the value in what you're showing me. That may be so, but you still have an astonishing capacity to fool yourself. That is why you needed to dream your life. Remember it when you are tempted to run off and pursue your illusions. Don't worry about me, Socrates. I can handle it. If I had known what was ahead, I would have kept my mouth shut." The web of illusion. The March winds were calming. Colorful spring blossoms spread their fragrance through the air, even into the shower room, where I washed the sweat and soreness from my body after an energy-filled workout. I dressed quickly, and skipped down the rear steps of Harmon Gym, to watch the sky over Redwood's field turn orange with the sun's final glow. The cool air refreshed me. Relaxed and at peace with the world, I ambled downtown to get a cheeseburger on the way to the UC Theater. Tonight, they were showing The Great Escape, an exciting film about a daring escape of British and American prisoners of war. When the film was over, I jogged up University Avenue toward campus, heading left up Shattuck, and arrived at the station soon after Socrates came on duty. It was a busy night, so I helped him until just after midnight. We went into the office and washed our hands, after which he surprised me by starting to fix a Chinese dinner, and beginning a new phase of his teaching. It started when I told him about The Great Escape. "Sounds like an exciting film," he said, unpacking a bag of fresh vegetables he'd brought in, "and an appropriate one too." "Oh, how's that?" "You too, Dan, need to escape. You're a prisoner of your own illusions, about yourself and about the world. To cut yourself free, we're going to need more courage and strength than any movie hero." I felt so good. That night I just couldn't take Sock seriously at all. "I don't feel like I'm in prison, except when you have me strapped to a chair." He began washing vegetables. Over the sound of running water, he commented, "You don't see your prison, because its bars are invisible. Part of my task is to point out your predicament, and I hope it is the most disillusioning experience of your life." "Well, thanks a lot, friend," said, shocked at his ill will. "I don't believe you have understood me." He pointed a turnip at me, then sliced it into a bowl. "Disillusion is the greatest gift I can give you. However, because of your fondness for illusion, you consider the term negative. You commiserate with a friend by saying, 'Oh, what a disillusioning experience that must have been,' when you ought to be celebrating with him. The word disillusion is literally a freeing from illusion. But you cling to your illusions." "Facts," I challenged him. "Facts," he said, tossing aside the tofu he'd been dicing. "Dan, you are suffering. You do not fundamentally enjoy your life. Your entertainments, your playful affairs, and even your gymnastics are temporary ways to distract you from your underlying sense of fear." "Wait a minute, Sock." I was irritated. "Are you saying that gymnastics and sex and movies are bad?" "Not inherently. But view their addictions, not enjoyments. You use them to distract you from what you know you should do. Break free." "Wait, Socrates. Those aren't facts." "Yes, they are, and they are entirely verifiable, even though you don't see it yet. You, Dan, in your conditioned quest for achievement and entertainment, avoid the fundamental source of your suffering. So that's what you think?" I retorted sharply. Unable to keep the antagonism out of my voice. "That was not something you really wanted to hear, was it?" "No, not particularly. It's an interesting theory, but I don't think it applies to me. That's all. How about giving me something a little more upbeat? Sure, he said, picking up his vegetables and resuming his chopping. The truth is, Dan, that life is going wonderfully for you, and that you're not really suffering at all. You don't need me, and you're already a warrior. How does that sound? Betted I laughed. My mood instantly brightened. But I knew it wasn't true. The truth probably lies somewhere in between, don't you think? Without taking his eyes off the vegetables, Socrates said, I think that you're in between as hell, from my perspective. Defensively I asked, is it just me who's the moron, or do you specialize in working with the spiritually handicapped? You might say that, he smiled, pouring sesame oil into a wok and setting it on the hot plate to warm. But nearly all of humanity shares your predicament. And what predicament is that? I thought I had already explained that, he said patiently. If you don't get what you want, you suffer. If you get what you don't want, you suffer. Even when you get exactly what you want, you still suffer, because you can't hold on to it forever. Your mind is your predicament. It wants to be free of change, free of pain, free of the obligations of life and death. But change is a law, and no amount of pretending will alter that reality. Socrates, you can really be depressing, you know that. I don't even think I'm hungry anymore. If life is nothing but suffering, then why bother at all? Life is not suffering, it's just that you will suffer it, rather than enjoy it, until you let go of your mind's attachments, and just go for the ride freely, no matter what happens. Socrates dropped the vegetables into the sizzling wok, stirring. A delicious aroma filled the office. I relinquished all resentment. I think I just got my appetite back. Socrates laughed as he divided the crisp vegetables onto 2 plates, and set them on his old desk, which served as our dining table. He ate in silence, taking small morsels with his chopsticks. I gobbled the vegetables in about 30 seconds. I guess I really was hungry. While Socrates finished his meal, I asked him, so what are the positive uses of the mind? He looked up from his plate. There aren't any. With that, he calmly returned to his meal. Aren't any? Socrates, that's really crazy. What about the creations of the mind? The books, libraries, arts? What about all the advances of our society that were generated by brilliant minds? He grinned, put down his chopsticks, and said, there aren't any brilliant minds. Then he carried the plates to the sink. Socrates, stop making these irresponsible statements, and explain yourself. He emerged from the bathroom, bearing aloft 2 shining plates. I'd better redefine some terms for you. Mind is one of those slippery terms like love. The proper definition depends on your state of consciousness. Look at it this way. You have a brain that directs the body, stores information, and plays with that information. We refer to the brain's abstract processes as the intellect. Nowhere have I mentioned mind. The brain and the mind are not the same. The brain is real, the mind isn't. Quote, mind is an illusory outgrowth of basic cerebral processes.